have two kinds of followers. Those who subscribe to my YouTube channel and those who subscribe to my website emails. If you get my emails, then most likely you also subscribe to my YouTube channel. But if you subscribe to my YouTube channel only, you don't get my emails. So there is stuff you don't know about, and I want to talk to you about an email I just sent out. I wanted to show what goes on inside of Tutor University, so I invited everyone who gets my email access to a live new student-only orientation. I have uploaded the orientation here for you to check out, and it will begin in a second. Before it does, I want you to listen to what someone wrote me right after attending. I have to say, I wasn't entirely convinced it would be much different than what you already have free on YouTube. But man, was I wrong. You just have the best way of connecting with women like me. I'm not sure if it's the so many kid thing. I began doing the things you suggested already. I've been getting up earlier, which makes such a huge difference in our morning. You were so right about that. I've been purging the house. I did not feel like I had this much crap, but when I started to look at it, it was everywhere. So anyway, I didn't know I could pay month by month. I get paid on Wednesday, and this is at the top of my must list. I can't wait to get started. So I just wanted to say thank you so much. There's a link right here on this video where you can register for Tutor University. Do it today and get started living the life you've always dreamed of living, the life that matters the most to us, life at home. Here is promised the recording of my Tutor University new student orientation. Thanks for listening. All right, so I'm going to officially start now and say thank you so much for coming here. If you're here, you're either here because you've enrolled in Tutor University or you were here because I invited anybody who wanted to check out what we do to just, be a fly on the wall, or you can ask questions if you want to. But who I am talking to actually directly are people that signed up for Tutor University. I want to make sure that this is not a shelf help program, that it's not something that you bought and you stick on the shelf and you forget about it. I want this to be something that you see as a real live, honest to goodness adult school class. Okay, something that you enrolled in and that you believe in and that you know you need and that you will actually participate in and get the most out of it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over some of the things that I have found while teaching this course that have come up for people that seem to sometimes be a little bit of a snag, or maybe things that I know need to be emphasized, and also what I feel like will really help you to stay the course and stay faithful and stay as excited as you were when you signed up. Okay? All right, so first thing I want to talk about is remember that we forget pain, and I also want you to remember what brought you here, okay? What was it that made you sign up for Tutor University? Why did you decide that this was something that you needed in your life? 9 times out of 10, it's because you hit bottom. You just couldn't stand it anymore. You didn't want to live in the clutter anymore, or always being late for things, or whatever the thing was in your life that you just said, I need help. You searched the internet and then you found me. And you decided to, take out your wallet and say, I am going to do something about this. I'm going to sign up for this course and I'm going to change the way things are. And I'm telling you, it doesn't only change the way things are, it actually changes your life. Now, one of the things we have to remember about why we brought us here is the pain. And I know that you're thinking, well, why do I want to remember pain? It's not something that I want to, dwell on. And I agree with that to some extent. When we're in any kind of a position that is bad for us, we have to remember what it is that's bad for us. If you're in a relationship that's abusive, you have to remember that that pain that you were going through during it, because what happens is we forget pain, right? And because we forget pain, after maybe 2 weeks or so, maybe sometimes shorter, we decide that we want this person back in our life because we forget the pain. If we keep it in
our forefront of our minds, then every time we get that weak moment where we might want to be back with somebody that maybe was abusive or just not good for us, then we'll twist it because we forgot how bad it hurt to be involved in it. And when you start Tidy Tutor University, you started it because there was some sort of a pain that you wanted relief from. You were embarrassed at your front door. Maybe something happened where you had, a pipe burst and you had to have a plumber come, or maybe there was, last minute company that you didn't expect, or maybe a relationship that you have that fell apart because of the mess, or maybe just that you just can't stand it anymore and you have dreams and goals and you can't reach them because you can't even find a pen. Whatever it is, please remember it, because when you begin to work the system, things get better. And when things get better, it's really easy to not be faithful. And this is a 4-session course. It's a step-by-step course. You take the first session, you work it for a week, you take the second session, you work that one for a week. One session builds on the next. And you don't want to get complacent by, the third session and say, I'm doing so good, I don't need this anymore. And the reason that you might say that is because you forgot the pain. That's the reason, right? So you want to remember, okay? You want to remember how it felt to be in the mess that you're in before you decided to sign up. And that will really help you to not decide to slack, okay? All right, so it's real important. Another thing about this that you need to know, that'll help you when you're moving along, is don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody what you have going on. And the reason for that is because people are naysayers generally. And also you'll hear things like, oh, sure, you're trying that again. Oh, yeah, great. Good for you. Like, how many times have you tried and failed before? Or, maybe you'll have somebody that tries to even talk you out of it. Like, oh, you don't need to do that. Everything's fine. You don't have to do that. And most of the time, it's because, well, I think there's 2 reasons. One is that, generally people don't like other people doing something when they're doing nothing. And most people do nothing. Another reason is because they're afraid that you're going to change. They're afraid that your relationship's going to change, the dynamics going to change. Sometimes, you could lose a friend because of it, because now you're, not jumping and running for them like you used to all the time. And, because we have a say no habit that we have to employ, and we have to take care of ourselves. So if you tell somebody, that you have this going on, then most likely you're going to get some discouragement. So if you did already, then that's okay. Just keep going. Okay. Keep going. If somebody's discouraging you or anything like that, or if that's happening in your world, then just, hearing my voice tell you that it's common for that to happen, you can put it on the back burner and say, all right, I'm not going to think about that. I'm doing this for me. I don't care what they think. But if you haven't told anybody yet, don't. Let them see it. Just do it one thing at a time. Just work the system, work the course, do each session, practice your habits, and people will come to you. People will say to you, how did this happen? What's going on? And that's how I started doing what I'm doing, is that people in my life saw how things changed for me. And before you know it, I was going from one house to another, helping people put their system together. So there's another thing. All right. Don't tell anybody. Just do it on your own without getting any discouragement from anybody else. Now, this is something I want to talk about, which was my consult that I had with a fellow Tidy Tutor University neurosurgeon. Now, when you get TTU, you have 30 minutes free consult with me. It comes along with the course, and you could decide to use that anytime you want to. I always suggest that you take the course a little bit and you just see how things go, so that you could say what you need help with. And then, we'll schedule a call and we'll talk for 30 minutes. Now, this one woman that I spoke to, she is a neurosurgeon. Now, this is the thing. It's not like we don't have very professional and skilled people who are in our TTU group. But the thing about this is that it's one of those things that we say when we're trying to, convey the best of the best, where we'll say, it's not rocket science, or it's not brain surgery, like that kind of thing, right? Well, guess what? It is brain surgery. And when I was talking to her, she was saying how watching the first session made her feel so emotional that tears began to run down her cheeks because she always thought there was something wrong with her. She said that every time she ever set out to do anything, she was always successful at it. But she couldn't get her house together. She couldn't keep house. She said that she was able to keep the living room, kitchen, and bathroom together enough so that people could come over, but nobody knew what was behind all of the closets, doors, the drawers, the refrigerator, her bedroom, the attic. And it bothered her so bad that she couldn't do it. She felt like there was something wrong with her. And when she, on our first session, when I get into how you're wonderful just like you are, it's just the way you're wired. You have a right brain more than a left brain. And when I spoke to her about it, I said, it's funny to me because you doing what you do, I mean, the brain is freaking your backyard. So what is it that you didn't get? And she said, it's just that you can't you can't be objective when it comes to yourself. A therapist can't go to themselves for therapy, and an author can't edit their own work. It's the same thing, and it really blessed her heart to see it. So I'm just putting it out there to you that there's all different kinds of people in our group, as far as like the ability for us to succeed with our dreams or not, to live in the mess and have our emotional issues that come with it, not be able to get anything done because of it, or are able to get stuff done. Now, I'm the kind of person that it makes me freeze. The mess makes me freeze. Until I got organized, I really couldn't get anything off the ground. After I got organized, all of the things I always wanted to do, I did. I learned how to play the guitar. I went back to college. I started a few businesses. I wrote two books actually. One children's book and the book that I have that I talk about this one particular chapter 9, called Free at Last, called Finally Organized, which you got with Tidy Tutor University. You got that book with it. So if for whatever reason you didn't get a welcome letter, it was in there. So just let me know. There's so on step 8, I do it like a step 12 program. Step 8 is we make a list of all the things we want to do and places we want to go when we finally have more time because of our new ordered lives. And because some of us, like let's say my daughter Katie, who is in the picture that's right there to the left, because this is how I address it in the book, is that she is a slob just like me, right? She and slob stands for spontaneous, lighthearted, optimistic, and beloved. It was a term coined by Pam Young and Peggy Jones, and it was from a book, Sidetracked Home Executives. We're all different, and I'm I'm the kind of person that freezes and can't get anything done. Obviously, our TTU fellow neurosurgeon is somebody that can get things done on the outside world, and so is my daughter Katie. She also is just like me, scattered by nature, very creative. It does not define her. The mess does not define her. So she's able to, be in disarray and get out of the house and do what she has to do, whereas I kind of internalize it, and I can't, I haven't been able to, and I know that it's the way I tick. So what do I have to do? I just have it together. That's what I do. Now, does Katie like it better when she has it together? Absolutely. And our neurosurgeon friend, she also said that she's so happy that it's working, that she never dreamed that she would be able to tackle her house, because she never could before, and it's working for her. So it isn't like I'm saying that if you're the kind of person that can function easily or can function outside of the house and get your things done, that you don't need this. Of course they do, and they're happier because of it. But we're all different, and everybody isn't the same, and how you tick, and that if you are one of the people who are like me and feel like you can't really make your dreams come true because of it, you will when you begin to, employ these things and get them going, I promise. Okay, so now the no excuse rule. I want to talk about that a second. The no excuse rule is so important. There are no excuses for a mess. If you are a mess, it's not because of your circumstances, no matter what those circumstances are. All right. An excuse becomes a reason. And as long as you have a reason for something, it gives you permission to do it. So you don't want to embrace that. Okay. You don't want to. Now, when I give examples in the course about the car accident I was in and things like that, and cancer that I didn't have, but I had it in my family were diagnosed with cancer and had to endure it, and what life was like for them and for me, because I got into a car accident about 16 months after I got organized. And the people who I'm talking about, one of them was my daughter-in-law, another one was my sister-in-law. They had cancer, but they were never a mess. And their houses didn't get messy because they got cancer. Whereas what we do is we say, well, I'm sick. I'm so sick. Or, well, look, I just got into a car accident. I can't even get out of my bed. I've been in my bed for 4 weeks now. And now I get to stand up, but I can't do it without a walker. How can I keep the house clean? We keep the house clean because of good habits that we have. Our house is a mess because of our habits and not because of our circumstances. And when that is something that you will embrace, everything changes. Now, I don't think I address this as much in the course as I would like to. I'm going to talk about it now. That if you are, let's say I found how to get my act together after the car accident and I was, in a big mess. I didn't know anybody that was worse than me. My tub was filled with dirty laundry because it couldn't fit anywhere else anymore. I didn't have a dish unless I washed the dish. I didn't get coffee unless I washed the coffee pot out. There was, a mess everywhere. All right. It was a mess everywhere. It looked like a hamper exploded in every room. And if I was in that position when I got into the car accident, well, then getting myself together would have been more like building my house in the rain. It's still me being in the car accident and being, bed bound. I broke almost every bone in my body. Other than that, it wasn't an excuse for the mess, and it wouldn't have even have been an excuse to stay in the mess. The mess was made before the accident, and if that was the case, and I needed to get out of it by employing new habits. But it's a heck of a lot harder to do when you're caring for, say, an elderly parent or a child with disability, or you've gotten sick and you are in the mess now, trying to learn it, trying to get out of it. It's much different, and I understand that, and I want to make sure that that I understand that but there's still no excuse. That's not why you're there. And if that's the case, that would be a great way for you to use your 30-minute consult so that we could discuss how you can, get that house up in the rain and have it all nice and ready to go, even though it's raining out. You know what I mean about the whole house in the rain thing, right? Like, it's really easy to build it. Well, I don't know if it's really easy, but if you were a master carpenter, it's pretty nice to build a house when the weather's good. But if you had to go out on a regular basis and it was raining, it's not as easy to get done, right? But it can be done, but it's not optimum. It's not the optimum thing to do, but we can do it, all right? And I could help you, all right? So there's that. All right, another thing is showing up. You got to show up, all right? Think about this course as an actual adult course, okay? If you are somebody that, just registered for this course, then take it seriously and give yourself the time to go out and take the class. If you can't do it at home because you have too many people pulling on you, or even just you yourself won't, will consistently pull yourself away from taking it, then go to the library, set up your laptop in a Wi-Fi place, or go to the library and stick in your earbuds on a computer and take the course, and tell yourself when you're taking it. Like every Tuesday at 7 o'clock for 4 weeks, I have an adult class. And it's true, you do. So you don't have to tell everybody in your life that this is an online course that you could take anytime, because people tend to, take advantage of us because we've allowed them to. So they could just say, well, just do it tomorrow. I need you to do this for me or something. So you're not going to do that. Even if somebody calls you and says, oh my God, I'm going to the airport, but my friend who said they would pick me up, they can't come now. Oh, if you were going to a classroom that you just paid for, would you say, oh, all right, I'll take you? No, you're taking a class. You have to go. So I want you to have that kind of serious commitment to this, okay? That you tell yourself the date and the time and you stick to it, all right? Whether you stay at home and do it or you need to go out and do it, okay? So showing up is important. Now, another thing I want to talk about is I talk about drinking water, right? And I call us, this is a new term that I just thought up today, backburner babies. And what that is because we're always putting ourselves on the back burner. We don't think that we're important. We don't think that what our lives are important, that our homes are important. We don't take care of ourselves. It starts by us thinking that home doesn't matter so much because we have plenty of time to get it all done, and this one needs me and that one needs me, and I don't feel good, and then all the excuses come, and then we start not taking care of ourselves too. It's real important, okay? It's really important to take care of yourself. When you start out doing this course, it starts out to be so that you can get yourself together in your house and everything. But I'm telling you what, it so evolves into so many other things. It makes you feel so good about yourself. You start to take better care of yourself. You start to realize what a priority you are and your home is. Nobody ever said when they won the lottery that they were going to quit home. What do? They quit their jobs and then they make home better, right? Whereas we have it backwards. We spend so much time getting ready for an outside of the house job and we walk around looking like crap at home, or we don't take care of our homes because we think it's not that important. It is important. It's so important. So when I talk about drinking water, start there, okay? We have been putting ourselves off for so long that it feels okay. It feels like it's all right. It's not all right? You matter. Your home matters. No more back burner baby, okay? Another thing is that I want you to really embrace this, please. It's not about perfect. It's about happy. All right. That's really what we're all about, happy. Somebody else's version of what a house should be like does not have to be yours. I give the example all the time about my sister Maria, who is organizationally gifted. Me and my sister Tina are not. So when she comes by my house, she always opens up a cabinet, or my sister Tina's too. She'll open up our cabinets and she'll start arranging them, because Tina and I, neither one of us really care that much about cabinets. We if you're not to that section yet, when we get to the zones, once a month we do a zone and then we will do a cabinet. But by the time before that time comes that we kind of straighten out every once a month that we do, it gets in disarray and stuff. The Tupperware or the plastic containers and stuff fall on their side, lids are off them, and then when the zone comes around again, we straighten it up, right? But my sister Maria, it's always all together, always. So she'll come in my house, she'll go in my sister Tina's house, and she'll open up a cabinet and she'll start doing stuff, and we love it. But this is the thing, this is a story I would tell all the time, is that, I used to have 7 people living in my house. And then, of course, they would have friends that came along with them. And so it was my ex-husband, my 5 kids, and a boy that lived with us as well. And so that means if you're talking about shoes, you're talking about 14 shoes, right? A pair of shoes each. Now, everybody has more than one pair of shoes. So let's just say for our own sake, that there's 2 pair of shoes each. So that's 28 shoes, right? 28 shoes. So that could really be holy mackerel, right? So what I did was I put a wicker basket that was a nice size wicker basket. It was nice size. It was plenty big enough to keep. It was like one of those baskets that you would get like from a gift basket kind of thing. And it was really big and had a whole bunch of stuff in it like that. So that's what I had on my porch. And I had all the shoes thrown in there. And my sister Maria came in one day and she said, "Oh, you want me to help you with the shoes?" And I said, "Why?" She said, "Well, look, maybe I can help you find something in here where we can put the shoes on." I said, "I have something where I put the shoes on. They're in that basket." It it worked for me beautifully. It didn't work for her. Because to her it was a mess, I guess. It was a basket filled with shoes and you had to actually, look for another one if one was underneath it. I don't know. In her little tidy mind, she couldn't handle it. So I'm saying that it isn't about what your friend could handle, what your neighbor thinks is right, what you kind of envisioned because it has to be perfect. Because, we are closet perfectionists. You know that, right? We're closet perfectionists. We lots of times will be like, well, I'm not going to do that because I can't really do it right. So if I'm not going to really do it right, I'm not going to do it at all. And that gets us into so much trouble. So I want you to, just bring this into your heart, all right, that if it makes you happy, it's okay. All right. It's not about getting it the way you feel like Better Homes and Gardens says it needs to be, okay, or Martha Stewart. We are not those people. We will never be those people. We don't want to be those people. Okay, now here is something that I want to discuss, which is when the house is a wreck, ignoring it as you are working TTU. And this is something that's really hard for a lot of people to do. They say to me, I can't tell you how many times people have said to me, I'm going to clean up the house first, and then I'm going to start Tidy Tutor University. What? What? Really? If you can clean up the house, you don't need Tidy Tutor University, right? And it doesn't work. It never works. They never get the house cleaned up and they never get started because we feel like it's counterintuitive. Well, why should I make my bed? And, do I need to take a shower now? Does that really matter? That there's all those dishes in the sink and I have so much laundry to do. And look at what a wreck my living room is. Well, we can't do it all at the same time. This has to be done in a systematic fashion and it will work. I'm telling you, okay? It will work. And if you could wrap your head around this, you'll be able to ignore the mess while you're working the system, okay? You're going to have a routine that you're going to do every day, regardless of what the house looks like. And you're going to tell yourself, okay, as long as I do this routine, I have a plan to get to that, whatever it is that's in your head that you're saying, this is calling me, to get to that, to get to this, to get that other thing. I have a routine. There is a plan that is in place so that I will get to those things. Right now, I'm doing this, which is getting up 30 minutes before you actually have to. Make your bed, drink some water, throw clothes in the dryer if you have a washer and dryer. If you don't, we can just, well, I do discuss that in the course. Get in the shower, get groomed and dressed. I know so many times you're like, but that place is a wreck. I really shouldn't make myself look good. Yes, you should. You have no idea how much of a game changer that is right by itself. So just keep telling yourself that if I knew what I was doing, I wouldn't be here, right? This works. It works across the board. There's nobody it hasn't worked for. So I'm going to just believe it. I'm going to take her word for it. Sometimes you have to do that, right? Sometimes we have to take somebody's word for it. Just like if you were getting physically fit, you had a trainer. Sometimes we see nothing. We're working so hard. It's 3 weeks. I don't feel any different. My clothes, don't feel any different on me. My legs hurt maybe, but I look the same. And then your trainer has to tell you, I understand. It's very common. Wait until you just stay faithful. Wait until you hit that 3-month point. It comes like a bam. Now, in our case, we don't got to wait 3 months. I'm telling you, when you begin to employ it, it gets better so fast and you see change so quickly. And that begins to be a little bit of a problem, but we'll talk about that in a little bit because remember what I said about that we don't remember pain? When things get done so quickly, we tend to think it wasn't as bad as it was. I don't have to be so faithful anymore. When something is horrible and then gets better, it seems good, but it's still bad, because bad is so much better than horrible that we can't recognize it as bad yet. You just have to keep going and don't quit and don't get in a delusional state that everything's okay now. All right. So when you're working the system and the house is a wreck, I'm telling you, whether you know it or not, it's going to happen in your head where you think, I can't follow this plan because of this, because of that mess, because of what's going on, because of, I have my, or anything that's happened in your life that's kind of devastating. Maybe somebody passed away. Maybe somebody's sick at home. Maybe you just got a new job. Maybe you just had a new baby. Maybe you just changed jobs. Maybe you're moving. There's all of these things that could be going on in your life that will pull you from saying, well, I can't do that because look at all of this. The way everybody that is organizationally gifted live with all of that in their lives, because it isn't only the organizationally challenged that has that in their lives, right? Everybody does. So the way they live so that all of that is manageable is that they do stick to the system. Okay, they do. They stick to the system no matter what it looks like out there, right? No matter what's going on, no matter what the house is like, there's a plan that you can't ignore, or everything unravels. You're going to come to a place where you think that you have to do all these other things before you start the system. Or if you have started the system and it's working for you, but then life threw you a curveball, somehow we think we have to get off the system because this has to be addressed. No, of course, whatever has to be addressed has to be addressed. But it doesn't not like, you have to realize we have a warped perception of time. We think that so much takes so much time, so we don't do it. But when you get out of bed, if you're used to making your bed, I want you to start counting. All right, start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even do 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. You're going to find out how really little time it does take to do some of the things that we aren't doing because we think there's no time to do it. Even closing drawers. Even closing drawers, we think there's no time to do. We're always running around, and it never saves us time. So I'm going to read, Stacy just wrote, all right, when I do extra stuff, the day to days fall behind. Yeah, that's because either you are somebody that came on the call to check out Tidy Tutor University and see what we're all about, or you're somebody that just started. So if you're somebody that just started, I'm going to tell you that that will not be the case when you have a plan. All right. The reason that things fall behind when you do extra stuff is because you don't have a plan and you're like the ball at the end of the paddle, and I call it doing a lot of nothing. You are working very hard for a long time, but seeing very little done. And it's only because you don't have a plan. TTU gives you a plan, just get with the program, and it works. That's all there is to it. Okay. So now we're going to talk about putting up signs. These actually are signs that I have right now in my house. And now for you'll be using them for a different reason than I am. First, let me tell you why you need to use them. And it's because when we do a section of the house at a time. And if the whole house is a mess, and you're working in, say, the kitchen, right? The kitchen will be completely done. And then you'll move on to the next section. Well, you want to keep that kitchen done, right? Nothing's having any babies. If you stick to the system, you stick to the plan, you stick to your habits, right? Like say when you like say I'll go back to the other one where you think that you want to clean the whole house up before you start, or you have so much going on in your life that you can't do this and you can't do that. Listen, when you are done with showering, it doesn't take any longer to pick up that towel than it does to leave it there on the floor. You pick it up, you walk out of the room. There's certain things that you're going to start to employ. So even if that bathroom has, say, 2 towels on the floor and two people's pile of clothes, you don't have to address anything else but what you did today. So you walk out of that room with the clothes that you just took off and the towel. You go in your bedroom and you take the clothes that you took off, maybe your pajamas, and you either put them away or you put them in the hamper. These things are going to happen on a regular basis. So when you're now in the kitchen, one of the things with the kitchen is you do your dishes. No more dishes in the sink. So when you're done with your dish, you wash your dish. I want you to start doing the counting thing, okay? 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. It takes about 5 seconds to wash a dish. And I think I'm exaggerating, okay? Almost all jobs are 5 minutes or less. So now your kitchen's all done. You want to keep it that way. So you're going to keep going with your habits. But remember, you don't live alone, maybe, right? If you don't live alone, then you've got to address other people's stuff that they've been used to doing. Now, we have the meeting that we have, and we talk to our families, and they're on board because they want the house nice, but it doesn't mean that they're going to get it right away. It doesn't mean that they're going to remember. So you put these notes up right away, okay? One of these is by a door when you walk out of the room. Another one is right above my stove, and another one is at the table where you sit to eat. You could even pin one to a kitchen curtain if it's over your sink. And then you do this right away so that they remember, okay? So that they remember. Now we have something called a tagging game too, and that's in our session, I think session 4, but this is something that has to start right away because you're not going to start tagging right away. It's just the way it goes. All right, so I'll just let you know why these are in my house now. The reason that they're in my house now in my kitchen is because I just sold my house and I'm moving in March. My daughter Katie moved in between apartments, and she moved in, she's moving out, right? So but she was here for 2 months. And so she didn't unpack. So I didn't have stuff everywhere, but I did have stuff places that I didn't want them, So the house was in disarray, it was together, but it didn't really feel together. Plus, you know what I do, right? I do a lot of videos, and so I want to do a video about my Christmas stuff because I took down my tree, and I took down my tree January 15th, I think, or the 25th, one of those. I took down my tree, and when I took it down, I left 2 bins. I have 2 bins of Christmas stuff. I left it in my foyer because I want to do a video on what I'm taking with me from my Christmas things, because I have like this minimalist lifestyle now that I'm trying to employ. So I want to do a video for that. I haven't had the time yet. They're still sitting in my foyer. So the house feels like it's in disarray. And so it's kind of like if you were having work done in your kitchen, right? Say you're remodeling your kitchen. For a short time, the rest of your house is going to be a little bit in shambles, but it's not a mess. And if we were not organizationally challenged and living in it the way we have always lived in it, we would just see it that way. We would accept it. We would live the best we can. We would see that it's not dirty. It's not messy. It's fine. It's just these things have to live here for a while. But because we've been so predisposed to a mess, it automatically goes back there. It goes back there. And the people that you've lived with have. So what I did was, as soon as I saw that they started slacking, taking care of their own messes and stuff, and, I'm not going to be a martyr and be like, I am the slave of the house. Why does this happen? You guys have to take care of yourself. Don't go there. We hemorrhage our power when we get to that point. Just so I just put up a sign immediately. Put the signs up. It gives them a check in their heart, a check in their spirit, where they're like, all right, yeah, okay, yeah, I see that, and then it just happens. Okay, so this is the way you're going to do it, so that when you do get one room together, as you're working towards the rest of the house, it stays that way while you're maintaining your habits, right? The habits that we have going on in our course. Comfort zones is something that I just want to address. This is a coffee talk that we have that you have access to. Comfort zones are something we're very used to things being a specific way. And when something is a specific way, it feels comfortable. Even people who are in relationships that are not good, they want to hold on to that relationship because it's what they're used to. So we've always been taught to go with our gut. And if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. but not in this case, okay? In this case, because we are purging, we're getting rid of things. It feels wrong because we've always held on to things. So you have to supersede that. It's like between your flesh and your spirit, right? Your flesh says, oh, but that's good. That's still good. Why would you want to get rid of that? Your spirit's saying, because it doesn't fit in here, or it doesn't fit you, or you haven't used it in 3 years, or it's broken, or you hate it, right? Any of those reasons are reasons to get rid of those things. So your spirit's saying, get rid of that. Your flesh is saying, hold on to it. It's this time when you have to move out of your comfort zone that you've always been in, holding on to your things, and not follow your gut. It's one of the only times we don't follow our guts, is when we've been so used to a particular behavior that it feels right, even if it's not. So the way you know if it's wrong, if it's not the, if it's not the gut feeling that comes that we know is the right thing, if the way we know is if it's bad for us. Is this good for me? Is this going to put me towards my goal of living with less stuff and feeling good about my home? If the answer is no, then you know that what you're in is a comfort zone and you got to push past it. Okay. It's not real easy, but if it was easy, you'd have it done already, right? Nothing worth getting is easy. Everything worth getting has some work to it, right? Relationships take work. Physical fitness takes work. Taking care of our body takes work. Everything that really is worth having has some work to it, and some real effort, and sometimes some pain. But when we know that it's good for us, all of that pain feels good. Like when your butt cheeks hurt, it feels like it's good. Like, oh, good, I worked out. My butt cheeks are burning. I'm so happy that I got that work done, because we recognize that that's good pain. And so when you're going through this, there's going to be some times where you're going to feel really uncomfortable letting go of something because it's still good. And I got it from my grandmother, but I always hated it. I hate that freaking thing. You don't have to hold on to what you don't like, okay? It's going to feel not right at first. Push through, okay? And we talk about in our room by room series, we really get into the why to get rid of things. We get rid of we absolutely do this in Tidy Tutor University as well, where we talk about how you can decipher what to get rid of, what to keep, what to get rid of. All right, now another thing I want to talk about is how we have too much stuff and what we can learn from the minimalists in the world. If you have an outside of the house job and you have too much stuff, I'm telling you that there is nothing you can do to balance your life until you get rid of the things, get rid of the excess, because all that happens is you're spilling. You spill out of the drawers, you spill off the kitchen table, you spill off the counter, and then you end up spilling out of your head and being mean and being upset because nothing is the way you want it to be. It's if you work and outside of the home and you have children, it's really not the easiest thing to juggle. Now, put on top of that all the crap that we've got to deal with, and we find out that it's impossible. Now, what we've learned from the minimalist people in the world is that they were not disorganized. They were not organizationally challenged. They did not live in a mess. They were able to be on time for things. They did have as busy a schedule as anybody else out there. Their house maintained order, but they found that when they released the excess, the things that they didn't need, the storage in their garage, the storeroom that they had in their house that they didn't really use anything in, but it was there and it didn't matter, and then they decided to get rid of it. When they got rid of all of the excess things that they had in their home that they really didn't need, what they found out was they got happy. They got happier. Their lives became more peaceful, and they weren't not peaceful before. They weren't living like we live, okay? Like the organizationally challenged person lives. They weren't living like that. So how will it be for you if you are living, a difficult existence because you can't get it together because you're right brained, and then you get rid of the excess. If it makes people who have it together happier, it'll make us elated. We'll be like on the top of the world. Okay. So you have to know that that too much stuff thing that we've got going on has to come to an end. You have to stop shopping, right? No shopping. Don't do it now. Get the place together, live with less, feel what it's like to enjoy life because of events rather than because of bringing something else into the house that eventually you have to do something with and continue to pay for. Now, I want to talk about coffee talks. These are in our members area. We meet once a week live, and then they go into our archives. You don't have to be there live at all. I always change up the time frames so that seasonally, so that no matter what your time is, there's going to be some time during the year that you will be able to make it live. I do it sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon, sometimes in the evening. And these are really, really important. They help to keep you focused, to stay motivated. They're all phone friendly, so you can put them on your ears while you are doing anything, while you're driving, while you're going for a walk, while you're cleaning up a zone, while you're cleaning up the kitchen. Anything that you do in your life where you can have some time to listen to something, there's a coffee talk that will, have a topic that you need. And believe me, they really are really great. And I ask you to make sure that you take advantage of them while you're in our insiders. I give everybody that starts Tidy Tutor University, Tidy Tutor Insiders. And the reason that I do that is because I know that to be successful in this, we need support and we need help. And this is the best I can do. It's a lot of help. It's a lot of support. And we have an insiders Facebook group that if you haven't friend requested me yet, please do. There's a place for you to do that inside of our insiders area. And then I can get you in our insiders Facebook group because I am in there much more than anywhere else. If you have questions for me or anything else, then I make sure that I am available to you. Okay. Okay. Now, the broken window theory that I want to talk about real quickly is something that Malcolm Gladwell shed a light on for me. That I was reading a book. I forgot the name of the book, but anyway, one of his books I was reading, and he talked about how New York City came around. It used to be very, very dangerous, and now it's one of the safest cities in America. And one of the things that happened was somebody who was in charge of, revamping the city had to work on the subways. And he said, first thing we're doing is we're taking down all of the graffiti and we're going to really not let that happen anymore. There's going to be severe fines. We're going to arrest people for this. There's going to be, we're going to care about what it looks like. And people were saying, what are you, crazy? There's so much that has to be done here. You're going to care about that? And he said, yeah, we're going to care about that. And what happened was this whole broken window theory thing is that when we see houses, when there's a house with broken windows in it, you automatically think nobody cares. And when you think nobody cares, then you don't care either. And if you have more than one person living in a home and you don't care, they're not going to care either. Now, I know that you could say, and I know you have, because I have said, well, you know what? I'm the one that cleans it up. So what's the difference? So you might leave your dishes or your bathrobe or your coat on a chair or your, whatever it is you've got going on. You could leave your stuff around because in your head, you're thinking, I'm the one that cleans it up. What's the difference? The difference is you're never going to see what it is that you want because you're teaching everybody that it doesn't matter. It's something that they don't do purposefully. It's not like they're doing it consciously and saying, Mommy doesn't care, I don't care. That nobody does that. Grown men in the city didn't do that, right? Grown women didn't do that, where they would just have something and throw it on the ground and litter. Like it didn't matter. Why did they do that when they wouldn't normally do that? Because it's something that happens to us psychologically. Nobody else cares about this. So we don't treat things right. Okay. So it's important that you realize this and that you really do set the standard. And I'm telling you, it might feel like you're getting like stepped on in the beginning because nobody's going to believe you. How many times have you said, this time we're going to do it? This time we're going to get organized, right? Just push through a little bit. And then make sure that you take advantage of that family meeting thing, like I told you, okay? And you really have to go into it in TTU because there's details involved in how we do that. All right.
Our once over day is something that we do if you haven't gotten to it yet. It's something that we do to just go through the house like we're a maid at the Motel 6. We're not doing any detailed cleaning or anything because, the way that we do our home is that we do it 1 week at a time and one section at a time. By the time the end of the month comes, there's a section of our house that hasn't been touched in a month. So the reason that I want to mention this is that the house is going to look really clean. And that the once over day happens once a week. We do a once over to the entire house. It only takes under an hour. It's easily delegated, so you don't have to do the whole thing yourself. And so you go through the whole house, bing, bam, boom, it's done. But what happens is that we think we don't have to do it because everything looks good. You have to do it. It's good. And I'm telling you, you're going to feel like I don't need to do this. But the thing is that if you obey that voice and you don't do it, then the next month is going to come and it's going to feel less like you don't have to do it, but you kind of don't have to do it. And then before you know it, it's gross. Okay. The reason that things keep clean and keep nice is because we do it in a plan, in a system, when it's supposed to be done, not when it needs it, okay? We don't clean when things need to be cleaned, meaning that they're dirty. We clean on a schedule, all right? And that's how they stay that way. And not only that, but it takes no time. You're done in no time. Whereas if you do let it go, it takes a lot longer. So when you go to the once over day, you're going to think you don't have to do it. I'm telling you to do it, all right? This is that you really need to wake up 30 minutes before the day starts. It's very, very important. But somebody mentioned in the last, our earlier webinar that she said, I can't get done my routine done in 30 minutes. And I want to make sure that you understand that that's not what it means. To get up 30 minutes before you actually need to is just that you have the time, that you're not running out of the house like a chicken without your head cut off, that you get up at least 30 minutes before you have to walk out the door. So if it takes you, if you have to leave the house at 8 o'clock and you have to get up at 7 o'clock to be able to walk out the door at 8 o'clock, then you have to get up at 6:30. You're not going to miss that 30 minutes. I'm telling you, you're not. The reason I have the picture of me there, it's a video I did walking, because a lot of times, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom or a dad and you don't leave the house, or if you work from home, we drag our feet. We think that the world isn't awake. A lot of the stuff that happens for us is between our ears. So it is so fabulous to just get the heck right outside. Get outside and walk. I do this all the time. If the weather isn't good for it, I get that. But if there's any way that you can get outside, even if you could just stand outside and stretch, there's something that happens within you. The world is awake and you begin your day with a different energy. A lot of it is our energy. Okay, so that's it. This is our orientation. It's our introduction. It's our encouragement to get it right, to begin the course in a way that will help you to be successful with it. If anybody is in here, I invited anybody to be a fly on the wall here, and you're not part of Tidy Tutor University and you really see the value in this, I invite you to give it a try because it works, and we're an amazing group of people. You have a lot of support. You've got me, and you got a plan that works. You can do it as $25 a month. If you've always wanted to get organized, this is the way to do it.